Hi, all right, guys. Uh, Truth be told, man, it's been too hot for me to do anything. So I've been avoiding recording because I have to wear a shirt in order to record. And normally when I do that, I start sweating profusely and ultimately just kind of have to take another shower. So, so I've been doing two, three recordings a week instead of like barely three. But anyways, today, man, it's kind of unique because there's something that's been on my mind for the past 3 days, and I've been wanting to talk to you guys about it. On Saturday, today's Wednesday. So on Saturday was my brother's engagement, and it was fun and all that shit. Sunday I had to come back from the village, so I didn't want to come down with my parents, and I didn't want to spend the day with them, specifically because I was really not interested in the rest of the family that's going to be there. Full honesty, man, I really don't like them. I don't like what they represent in this world. I'm not saying it's wrong, just saying I don't like it. And I especially don't like how they behave with me, specifically because, like, every person wants to give you advice, and fascinatingly so, normally people that want to give you advice have no clue what you're going through or aren't in a position that you want to be in for the advice to be relevant. But anyways, so I took the bus and I was going to Beirut, and I reached there. There's a standard pricing for a bus, which is like $2, perfectly fine, or a buck 50, I think, perfectly fine. When I got to Beirut, man, I wanted to take a cab, and here we have a system. It's called service, which is basically like a cab can fit four people. So you either call a cab and ask them to have a taxi, and the taxi basically charges $5, or you can ask for a service, which means like I'll take you in there, but if somebody else is going in that direction, we basically like stop and take them as well. So basically, he fills and refills on the way, and a service is $2. And so I got with the guy, and he did something very interesting. And why do I say interesting? Because from a behavioral perspective, he won up to me, and he won. And I want to like in detail explain that because for me, I noticed it on the spot, and I noticed it was a choice for me to either kind of like face him or just let him have that win. Now, what happened was I said one service, which is $2, to that spot. And he was like, sure, let's go anywhere you want to go. And he was being very loud and friendly. So normally people that are being loud and friendly kind of like throw you off base, right? Now for me, I'm the quiet type. So like I specifically am the quiet type with them because many times we'd be having conversations and naturally they're like disgruntled people. They're just like pissy all the time. They're complaining all the time. They're pissed, upset all the time. And I blame the state of the country right now to their behavior and others. Imagine if you are going to go to your work and you're going to be driven to your work by like a cab who's already overcharging, and you don't get a moment's of peace in that car because what they're bombarding you with is shit energy and just shit words and like just reminding you of how shitty the situation is. They don't do anybody any favor, most of them at least. Recently, because of the recent like surge in apps, and that's basically it because the surge in like taxi apps. What happened was on one side, a lot of people became a lot more, uh, a lot of cab drivers became a lot more kind of professional, kind of like anything you want, get music, they take care of their cars. Well, on the other side, they became full on crooks. Like they would say yes to you for like a $2 like transit, and when you get there, you say, you didn't ask for one transit. We agreed to two. You have to pay me $4, and they'll cause a fuss and all that kind of shit. So he was one of those crooks. Just be clear, because he lied to me blatantly, and I asked him a question to just like kind of like test if I was going to basically, if it was worth me having a conversation with him or not, or just let him keep the dollar. So on the way there, I was like, "Do you have change for 10?" He was like, "No, I don't." So he stopped at an actual like, what's it called? At a and okay, so let me just go back a bit. He looks at me and he goes like, "Do you have cigarettes?" And I go like, "Sure." Now hear me out. You, if you do somebody a favor, you trust them more than if they do you a favor. There's a sense of obligation, or there's a sense of kind of like reciprocal obligation that makes you go like, I did something for somebody, and in your head subconsciously, you kind of like feel like they owe you. So that trust between you and them basically grows. So what that fucker did was ask me for a cigarette. And that's number, like basically, it's like I've read it in so many books. Like when you ask somebody for a favor, they trust you more instead of if you do them a favor. If you do them a favor, they're always thinking, what does he want out of it? But if you ask them for a favor and consistently thank them, I even read it in a book, Montaigne, it's like the 1500s, basically philosopher, discussed that like thoroughly, how talking to people and asking them for favors and always thanking them makes them feel like, you're a good person and all that good shit. So first he asked me for a cigarette, which was basically like, fuck it, why not? I wasn't considering that to be a ploy. And it probably wasn't. He's probably just that guy, or he probably just like instinctively developed it throughout the years. But it's fun to actually analyze. After he did so, I rolled him a cigarette because I smoke rolling cigarettes. And he was like, you do one yourself, roll one for yourself, and smoke one with me. Why the fuck not? And I go, like, okay, do you want a lighter? He goes, like, no, I don't smoke my cigarettes, I eat them. I'm like, what the fuck? So second thing that threw me off guard is that guy's literally chewing piece by piece on the tobacco, but he's not really chewing it. And I noticed him. He's not really like chewing it and then spitting it out. He just kind of got chews it and then he grabs it with his hand and he goes like, "Oh, see how I do it?" And he throws it away. And I'm like, that could be considered a fidget. And then really, my mind was processing all of that while I was kind of like, "What's going on?" Right? It could just be a fidgety thing. Like a lot of people just put a toothpick in their mouth and all they want to do is kind of like move it around. I bite my nails when I'm kind of fidgety, right? So I figured, man, that might be a tick or something, or him just kind of like in his head, he feels like if he bites a cigarette and he throws it, he's getting something out of it. Maybe he likes the flavor. I don't fucking know. And so by that time, he had already established a certain I want to say bond or a certain like understanding between me and him. Like I completely like anything I talk to him wouldn't make sense anymore simply because he's chewing on cigarettes. So trying to like cut through any logical reasoning between me and him. And it became very much a like, this is me, this is a show, I'm taking you somewhere and all over the place and kind of like he's taking me into places. And I was noticing that because like I've read a book about manipulation. That's kind of how manipulators work. And it's funny because I didn't have change. I wanted to change, and I had $10 on me. And I go like, "Do you know a place where we can change?" And what happened was he stopped at an actual like fuel gas pump station, and he was like, "Change this $10 for me," and the gas pump changed the $10 for me. Now he's supposed to take only $2 and give me the rest, but he took $3 in front of me. Goes like one, two, three, and he gives me the rest. And I look at him, and I look at the money, and I go, "Look, okay, I just got ripped." And I fold the money and I go like, my guy, has the service charge been raised from $2 to $3? And this is me kind of like attempting some logical reasoning between me and him. Remember, by law, the rule of law is the possession 98 is 90%, 98% of ownership. So he already has the money in his hands. What can I do in a process of 2 minutes before I reach the house to get that $1 back? And that's where my logical reasoning was kind of like, no, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? But I wanted to ask the question because I wanted him to basically, I wanted to see what kind of man he is. And I ask him, and I go like, have they raised it? He goes like, sometimes it's $3, sometimes it's four. You know how it is. And I go like, I don't know how it is. No, please explain it to me. He goes like, listen, man, like, no, we've been fighting this and all over the place. And I go like, okay, but you still did not explain to me. We agreed one charge and basically $2 and you took three. And he goes, yeah, if this is a it's just like he started going and I saw him squirming, but like he started lying. And he lied when he said sometimes it's two, some we're fighting for it to be four, but right now it's two and a half, three. So I just smiled and I go like, Sahtain. Sahtain would means like, take it, enjoy it, whatever it is. And it left me very much with the whole like reasoning and rationality behind how it happened. And naturally, I'm trying to make sense from his behavior. Maybe he's not doing it on purpose. Maybe he is. Maybe he's smart enough to do it on purpose, which means he's a true crook. Or maybe he's not really doing it on purpose, and that's just basically his instinctive way of handling the current situation because he needs to make more money. So he's taking advantage of people. And ultimately, it's just kind of like he won up to me. He won. I never considered this to be something that would happen, which is my fault. It's naivety on my side. And on the other side, basically, when I got the chance to actually do something about it, I was faced with either confrontation because you're not going to win talking to him. He already established a certain rapport, which means he's going to start looking at me and go like, I didn't think this would be the case and all that shit, which is going to give have some social impact on me. It was super fun to kind of like just assess how I got basically what's the word? Bamboozled for an extra dollar. And the whole charade that actually took place for me to kind of like be okay with it. I'm kind of proud of myself because I like when he took it, I was like, what can I do now? And I'm like, no, has the price changed? And he lied. So when he lied, I was like, I'm dealing with a crook. There's no way I'm gonna win. I should have confirmed the price before I got in the car. I should have had extra change on the side. Naturally, you try yourself. But it's fun. I wanted to actually share it with you guys because, in all honesty, there's a lot of things that happen with us that sometimes we're okay with and we shouldn't. And most of the time, it's because we kind of like we haven't practiced using our voice in certain occasions or creating a certain pattern that ends up with us actually like being the winners of the situation. And it's only fair because he won fair and square because I basically could have rejected, but I didn't. And ultimately, I should have prepared better. He was already prepared. I was entering his environment when I should have like a bit more sovereignty when it comes to these things. But again, it probably was an emotional day, or it really isn't worth it. But like fucking good learning. Like check out all the things that went through my head just because I was like, this could happen, which means I could understand things. I could see things differently. I overshot this video. It was just the rant of the week, and I don't know if it's the rant of the week or the rant of the weekend. But hey guys, it's a video.